Hello everybody and welcome back to another unboxing video. I am your host Joel. I'm one half of the Newlydeads. If you're unfamiliar with who the Newlydeads are, please go to our website at thenewlydeads.com for more information about who we are, what we do, and where to find us. Our goal once again in 2026 is to grow the channel. So if you would, please like, share, subscribe, throw a comment in there. That is very much appreciated. Again, not looking for like a massive thing or anything like that, but just a few more people here and there never hurts. So if there's anybody that might be interested in the content that we're creating, including unboxing videos, sinister snacks, caffeinated, occasionally drawing videos, and of course, Dollar Store Driving Classic and the original Dollar Store Driving, the new episodes, then do what you do, people. It is much appreciated. I will preface this by saying that my left ear has been stuffed up now for several days and isn't quite releasing said pressure. So if my voice is a little louder than normal or anything kind of funky there, it is because I'm having difficulty hearing, pretty much zero hearing. I already have tinnitus, and so all I'm getting is, the sound of what it's like when you get out of a pool and there's water in your ear, but then add the tinnitus on top of that, and it's kind of unpleasant, but you push through it. So what we've got here today on this unboxing video is a smorgasbord, or a whatever you want to call it, a buffet of just random pickups. I don't know necessarily, I may not be able to give you exact information about where I got each of them because they are from various places, but I will do my best as I remember, because some of these are from like a month or so ago. Some of them I just got yesterday. And so I will do my best, as I always do. But the main thing here is just to kind of show you what they are, give you a peek on the inside, and give you a little history and background as far as what I could find. So first thing we have, this actually came to me through probably a targeted ad on social media somewhere. Being a Joe Bob Briggs fan for a while now, I've kind of been collecting some of the films that he's had a part in. And that's been a newer thing since the last drive-in stuff is pretty limited. Outside of his Patreon page, you can get things if you're at a certain level of subscription, which is more than I could afford. And they've done one official release through Shudder for their anniversary, and now Joe Bob, of course, is moving on from Shudder. So who knows what the future will hold? Maybe there'll be physical media, but I know contracting rights, licensing rights, are tricky. So anyway, this is the movie we've got that I'm just discussing here. This is the Fairfield County 4 from 2026. The plot of this is that 4 young adults disappear while investigating reports of a large wolf-like creature. Though no trace of the four were found, their camera was eventually located. Yep, found footage. This would be the last known footage of the Fairfield County 4. This is directed by Joshua Brooker, who did Final Days, Tales from the End Times, and something called Split Screen. And then, of course, as I mentioned, this stars John Bloom, aka Joe Bob Briggs, who was in Cryptids, which I did pick up, and that was actually quite enjoyable. If you've not checked that out, he plays a radio host, and it's kind of an anthology story about different cryptids. He does get tied into it at the end. He was in Scare Package. I don't think he was in part 2, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I know he's in part 1. I feel like he might have been in part 2. Part 1 is just a whole hell of a lot of fun. Part 2 was still pretty good. And then, of course, Hogzilla. If you're a fan of The Last Drive-In, you're familiar with Hogzilla. No particular trivia here, but like I said, I got a targeted ad online for this, and I, of course, immediately was like, how much and how do I get a copy? Because why not? I'm not a huge werewolf guy. I'm not big on vampires. I'm not big on werewolves. There's a card on the insert there. But I do love Joe Bob and want to support his other endeavors. And the people that are, fans that are also hiring him, I'd like to support them as well. So check that out when you get a chance. Or I probably should say Joe Bob says check that out. All right, next up. Now, I already have the second one, and I couldn't have the second one without the first one. And I am a fan of the Category 3 films. And this is kind of one of the more notorious ones, if not the most notorious, other than maybe Ebola syndrome. We have The Untold Story from 1993, aka The 8 Immortals Restaurant, The Untold Story. The plot of this is that Macau cops begin to suspect a man is running a pork buns restaurant of murder after tracing the origin of a case full of chopped up human remains that washed ashore, which leads them to him. This is directed by Danny Lee, who did Dr. Lamb. Danny Lee is primarily an actor. And also is listed as director as Herman Yao, which I just mentioned, Ebola syndrome. Herman Yao is a fascinating interview. If you get a chance to watch any of his interviews, He's a fascinating interview. This stars Anthony Wong, kind of the king of Category 3, who is known for Taxi Hunter. This is a little bit of trivia here. This is based roughly on a true case, which did happen in Macau, supposedly. I didn't double check that, but we're going to take that at face value. That is what happened. There is the cover. There's Anthony's face right there. The back with the information about the film, screenshots, etc. Of course, we got a slipcase. Same thing there on the cover. Same thing there on the back. This is an Unearthed Films Classics. And on the inside, we have the disc. And we have a tiny, tiny little booklet here. Now, I don't remember what is inside. So, nothing, just a little bit of information about the film, which is nice. You know, it's always good to have extra kind of context for things, at least in my opinion. I'm a lifelong learner, and that's one of my favorite ways to learn. Now, next up, we have an anime. Now, don't do a lot of anime on this channel, but in this particular grouping of things, we've actually got two. Probably my favorite anime that I found on my own that was not like recommended, like, you know, Cowboy Bebop or, you know, Ghost in the Shell, you know, the bigger ones, Dominion Tank Police, is Psycho Pass. And I love Psycho Pass. It's my favorite. Like I said, it's one I found on my own, and I just fell in love with the whole like thing behind it. This is Psycho Pass Providence. It's from 2023. The series has been kind of interesting because, and I don't know, I'm not as familiar with anime as a lot of my friends are. You know, it kind of has come along and then kind of has these weird like little movies and other things that kind of get thrown in there, and it's kind of complicated to stay on top of it, especially when some of it doesn't get released here. And I don't have streaming services for like Crunchyroll or anything like that, so I just have to wait until they're available. And this is kind of a really nice version of this set. So the plot here is that while attending a meeting as a chief inspector of the Public Security Bureau, Akane Sanomore, received a report that an incident had occurred on a foreign vessel, and thus is the beginning of a big and unexpected case. This is directed by Naoshi Shiotani, who has done all the Psycho Pass stuff so far, plus some other things. Naoyoshi, let me correct that. This stars Kana Hanazawa, who is portraying Akane, who has over 570 credits. This also stars Tomakatsu Sekai, who is Shinya Kogami, who has 716 credits. So I just didn't feel like I was going to get into them. I just thought it was impressive how many credits they have for voice acting. A little bit of trivia here. This film celebrates the 10th anniversary of the Psycho Pass anime series, which, like I said, if you're not familiar with it, look it up. The art style is cool. The storyline, the world building. It's if you like, you know, Blade Runner or I'm going to say Minority Report, but you know, things like that with kind of futuristic tech that doesn't exist in the real world that we know of. It is fascinating. There is the more normal looking version of this with the slipcover, front and the back information about the film. And inside we have, once again, another cover for that. And on the inside, the disc itself just is like the cover, and then we have a shot there. Now, I haven't had a chance to watch this yet. I am up through season 2. I haven't watched any of the 3 movies that had come out, Sinners Sinners of the System. And there are some other things here, by the way. This was on the back of the original packaging, which, you know, I always save that stuff too. And then on top of that, we have this beautiful booklet, or should I say book? I don't know what you want to call it. It's a little thicker than average, but inside you've got these, just, you know, you've got information about each of the characters in the film. If you go a little deeper into it, you've got some writings about the film as well. And if you go even deeper still, you've got shots, you've got, I felt like, if I remember correctly, yeah, there's even some like concept looking art and things like that. And that's why I got this. I mean, it was really inexpensive because anime sometimes can get kind of pricey. And this actually has been really reasonably priced. And there's a couple different versions of this if you don't want the big bad boy, if you're not a big fan, or it's more expensive. But even this version has been relatively inexpensive. So keep your eyes open, and you may be surprised you might be able to get it on the lower cost side. I don't like to use the word cheap because cheap connotates bad quality. It's all about positioning. Next up, we have the original Night Watch 1 and 2. So the first one here we have is Nattavagten. Let me correct that. I think that's right. From 1994, aka Night Watch. The plot of this is a law student starts working as a night watchman at the Department of Forensic Medicine in Copenhagen. His mad friend gets him on a game of dare that escalates. As a serial killer's victims start piling up at work, he becomes a suspect. It's not really a great description of the film, but it's a Danish, it's from Denmark. And I actually saw the remake first with Ewan McGregor and Patricia Arquette, and I forgot all there's so many people in that movie. Just look it up. There's just a litany. It's like a huge cast. Josh Brolin's in it. It's also from 1997, I want to say. Anyway, it was one of my favorite films. Maybe it was 94. Nope, it was 97. Or it was 99. I don't know. I'll put it up here. I digress. It was one of my favorite films of that year, along with Magnolia, and I showed it to anybody who would watch it, the original. And I still have yet to see, or the remake. I have yet to see the original, but the remake was done by the same writer-director, and just, if you've seen Seven and Silence of the Lambs, it's right up there, in my opinion, as far as being just as atmospheric and engaging as that. I love it. But anyway, so this is directed by Ole Bornedal, who did there it is right there, 1997 Night Watch, as well as Small Town Killers. This stars Nicolaj Coster-Waldau. I never knew how to pronounce his name, but you may remember him from Game of Thrones. He was the Lannister brother. And then he was also in God is a Bullet. A little bit of trivia here. The film debut of Nicolaj. Also in Denmark, the film was so successful that it ended up making more money in the country than Jurassic Park in 1993. Crazy. Then we have the sequel, which is Nattevagten, Demoner Gar I Arv. I probably just, sorry to my Danish watchers, aka Night Watch 2, Demons Are Forever, from 2023, so quite a big distance between the original and the sequel. So plot here, Martin's daughter Emma takes up a night watch job to find out what happened to her parents almost 30 years ago. A meeting with Vermeer in his cell pulls the serial killer out of his coma and sets in motion a chain of fateful events. This is again directed by Ole Bornedal, who did The Substitute. This stars again Nicolaj Coster-Waldau, who was in Oblivion, which is, I feel like, an underrated film. I liked it. I've seen it a few times. This is a little bit of trivia here. Latte Anderson was offered to reprise the role of Latte, godmother of Emma, but declined as she couldn't see herself in the role, which is weird because if she's already been in the role, can't see herself in the role now? I don't know. Anyway, this is an Arrow release. It is a 2-pack, which they always do a nice job with everything. So it was a heck of a deal right out of the gate. And I'm very excited to dig into this because, like I said, that original way that I saw it as the remake blew my socks off. So I can only imagine that the original is going to be equal or more so than that. So there is the disc that's inside, which is the cover that you saw on the front there. There is the second disc there. And then behind it is the same image because it's got a reversible sleeve. Now inside you do have a couple different things here. You've got a poster, which it looks like is the cover for the poster art for 1 and 2. So you've already seen that. Then you also have the book, which there's the same as the cover itself. There's Nicolaj on the back, examining some things. And this movie has a lot of twists and turns. So if you go into it and you're like, oh, this is one thing, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, let's go in a different direction. And next thing you know, things are getting a little weird. And you're like, I don't know. It's a hell of a movie, and I'm excited for the original and the sequel to the original. So I will get back to you maybe at a later date, or you can check my Letterboxd, which I will put the information for that right here where I do review every single film that I watch, including some TV shows if they're available on there. And if you're interested in what I think in a very succinct and no more than a sentence or two, typically I do write some blog posts that are longer on our website that I mentioned before. But on Letterboxd, I keep it really short with a star rating and just move on. It's more of a way of record keeping for me, but if you like it, check it out. Next up, we have something that I thought was really fun. I love the original. Haven't seen the sequel yet. My wife and I both love the original. And this 2-pack came out, and it was, again, really inexpensive. And I couldn't help but not get it. And I have a region-free player, so it makes things a little easier sometimes with getting things that maybe wouldn't be available otherwise. We have Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl-O-Rama 2-pack. Yep, that's both, baby. So first one, we have Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl-O-Rama from 1988. As part of a sorority ritual, pledges and their male companions steal a trophy from a bowling alley. Unbeknownst to them, it contains a devilish imp who makes their lives a living hell. This is directed by David DeCatau. I never get his name right. DeCatau, who did Nightmare Sisters, which I also enjoy. This stars Linnea Quigley, who was in Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1988, and I am having trouble pronouncing things today. A little bit of trivia here. This was the most popular feature shown on USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear. The episode was co-hosted by star Linnea Quigley. Why can't I say Quigley? Then we have Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl-O-Rama 2 from 2022, which I have not heard too many things about that are good. We shall see. Plot with the murderous imp escaping yet again. It's a fight for survival for the girls of the Pi Ep sorority house as they find themselves trapped in a creepy bowling alley. This is directed by Brink Stevens, who was in Terror Toons 4, just to pick a random one. The stars Kelly Maroney, who you may remember from Night of the Comet, who's hit, the both of them are on the con circuit, so if you ever want to meet them, I know they're out there doing their thing. A little bit of trivia here. Brink Stevens said they wanted to include Linnea Quigley in the spider role from the first movie, but Quigley shattered her kneecap a week before the 2022 summer shoot. And she couldn't travel from where she was located in Ohio. Instead, they brought in actress Kelly Maroney on board as Spider's sister. Quigley did appear in flashbacks used from the first film. Now, this is a 101 Films release. Got the box art with the naughty little imp there. On the back, you have information about the film. And I believe this is my first 101 Films release that I've picked up. I'm pretty sure. There's the same thing there. Same thing there as well. Inside, we have, you have a lovely sticker. Then you have the discs, which I don't love this version when they do it like this, because I'm always worried about scratching things, but it's better than the slipped cases. But because of the fact that there is an alternate cover here, well, here, you may want to see that too, because you probably couldn't see it because it was hidden behind there. But you have the original cover there. Now, the other thing we have in here, put this back real quick, is you have a book. Nice bound, shiny book. Nothing on the back. I don't know what's inside exactly. I don't remember. This one is one of the older ones that I picked up, but I got it for, that's acceptable. Pretty inexpensive, but you got a lot of information about the films. I'm going to just kind of skip through this because there's some stuff there that is maybe not appropriate for YouTube. But yeah, if you are a fan of the first film and you're willing to take a risk on the second, it's almost as the same price or decently priced compared to buying them separately if you don't have one or the other already. But I believe this is a region B. So if you have a player, they may do a region free, or they may have already done one, or I may have just grabbed that one, not even checking. I don't know. Next up, we have a movie that I have been so excited to see for a long time, and it finally hit on Mondo Macabre, and I immediately said, nope, don't care, just want it right now. Send it to me, please. So we've got, there we go, Mystics in Bali from 1981. I almost put my hands up on the table here, which would have caused problems. So a woman researches a book that takes her to the black magic cult of Liak in Bali. She meets an evil witch who promises to train her in dark arts, but she is tricked and turned into a flying vampire with internal organs hanging from her neck, which I'll put the name of what that is somewhere over here. There's a specific, this is why I love these types of films, international horror films, and otherwise, is that there's a lot of legends and lore and things like that for monsters and things that we don't have here. This is one of them. It's a very specific type of creature. It doesn't list it here. I may have written it down here. I don't remember, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, so it's interesting. So this is directed by H. Jut Jali, who did Lady Terminator, another one that you may be familiar with. This stars Yas Santo, who was in The Warrior and the Blind Swordsman, which I swear I've heard of, but I know I haven't seen. A bit of trivia here. The first true Indonesian horror film aimed at a Western audience. Also features Yona Agathe Bastian in her first and to this date, as of April 2022, only film role. She was a student from Germany on vacation and was approached by the producer's wife if she was interested in extending her holidays to appear in a film for her husband. And that's how things happen sometimes. So there you've got the cover. I've heard about this movie for years, and I've just been fascinated by it and wanted to see it. And and Mondo Macabre does a great job. There's not much to the packaging, but I'm more interested in the film anyway. So save the money on the packaging, show me the money in the film. Anyway, so I mentioned there were two things in here that are anime. This is the second one of the anime things. We've got Akira from 1988. This is the 4K release. It was super inexpensive. A secret military project endangers Neo Tokyo when it turns a teenage biker gang member into a rampaging psychic psychopath who can only be stopped by his best friend. It's probably one of the most classic animes, at least as far as films are concerned, other than maybe like Ghost in the Shell. And then, of course, series would be Cowboy Bebop, or there's a ton of Studio Ghibli stuff. But anyway, this is kind of considered one of the greatest. This is directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, who did Steam Boy, as well as Robot Carnival. This stars Mitsuo Iwata, who has over 241 credits. Boy, voice actors just always working. So a little bit of trivia here. This movie consists of 2,212 shots and 160,000 single pictures, 2 to 3 times more than usual, using 327 different colors, another record in animation film, 50 of which were exclusively created for the film. The reason for this statistic is that the most of the movie takes place at night, a setting that is traditionally avoided by animators because of the increased color requirements, but they just apparently leaned into it. So there is the iconic cover you may be familiar with. Same thing with the back. These are maybe things you've seen before, and you may be like, Joel, why are you just now picking this up? Why have you not seen this? Because I'm kind of on my own with anime. I enjoy it. I don't watch it a lot. But you know, I'm pretty much the only one that really like actively wants to see it in the house between everyone that lives here. So it you know, I don't always have the opportunity, but I am a fan. All right, last but not least, on this video, we have a twofer here. You're going to say, why did you buy this twice? But we're just here to talk about the movies. So we have The Bride from 2026. In 1930 Chicago, Frankenstein asks Dr. Euphonius to help create a companion. They give life to a murdered woman as the bride, sparking romance, police interest, and radical social change. This is directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, who was also did The Lost Daughter, which I believe Jessie Buckley was in as well. This stars Christian Bale, who was Batman for the Nolan trilogy, who I remember probably earliest in Empire of the Sun, which you've never seen. It's a fantastic movie. And of course, American Psycho, which is probably top 25 horror films of all time, maybe films of all time. It's just a great movie. And then Jessie Buckley, who was in Men, as well as her recent turn in Hamnet, which got her a lot of accolades. A little bit of trivia here. This film contains some visual homages to Fritz Lang's Metropolis from 1927. Bridget Helm, aka Maria from that film, was an inspiration for The Bride and had been considered by James Whale for the part of The Bride of Frankenstein, which came out in 1935, but she turned it down, and Elsa Lanchester, of course, took on the role. So first up, we have, this is the 4K, standard 4K release, which includes the disc and a code for streaming, which before anybody asks, I've already kept it because I wanted to be able to stream it whenever, wherever. Like I said, I know this wasn't the most popular film, which makes me a little sad, but it's probably my favorite release of 2026 so far. And I saw it originally in IMAX the weekend it came out. Actually, I think the first day it came out. And then I watched it again this morning because it just came to me yesterday. And so I wanted to watch it again, and I did. And it was even better the second time. So that is the standard release. Now there's, like I said, only the 4K and the digital code. Well, I also picked up the Steelbook version, which is also 4K, which you have, little sort of pseudo slipcover. On the front, you've got Jessie Buckley's Bride. On the back, you've got Christian Bale's Frankenstein. In the inside, we have another digital code. And then we have the classic image of her looking like Maria from Metropolis before they reinvigorate her. There is the Blu-ray disc and a 4K. So this is not only just from a collector standpoint, the other side of this is just the other side of her laying down. But also because currently there's only one 4K player in the house, which is attached to my youngest's gaming system. And so, if I want to watch an actual 4K movie on the 4K TV, I have to use their player, which is not always around. So a lot of times I end up watching Blu-ray, so it's nice to have a copy that way too. But eventually, the goal is to get a 4K player as well that is dedicated to the TV, but all things in time. All things in time. So that is it. That is a giant buffet, smorgasbord, whatever you want to call it, of just random stuff I've picked over the past 2, maybe 3 months. But there's lots more stuff to come. I've got a box over there of some things that I've been waiting to talk about. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. Thank you so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And until next time, remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed. So don't forget to unbox your heart. We'll see you soon.
What are you doing? Go home! You do not want to get caught up with me. People love a monster. There is gonna be a mob. Really? I've been through this before. It is terrible. Go. Get out of here. Go home.
I don't know where I live.